Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Animecast. My name's Andrew, and I'm joined here as always with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is another discussional podcast episode. We talk about the news that seems important to us, dive into our community, answer some great questions from our community members, and then say goodbye. So how are you doing, Chris?
I'm just sleeping on the job.
Apparently you passed out.
No, I was sleeping on the job.
You're sleeping, okay. Well, it's nice that if you fall asleep at work, they just put you in the office. And
they put me in the office, ask if I was okay.
Typically, when I fall asleep at work, they fire me.
Exactly.
You fall asleep and they give you a nice chair.
Exactly.
Was it a comfy chair?
No.
No.
But hey, I tried.
Yeah. And you touched somebody's leg, and they didn't fire you over that
Exactly.
either. It was the back of your head when you're falling.
It was the back of my head, exactly. But
they're like, hey, you... Well, if it's just your head, that's fine. Wow, it's a really weird, out-of-context conversation. If you don't know good otherwise, I should have asked you that beforehand. Do you not want to record the podcast today? Because, I mean, that sounds kind of bad.
I know, right? No, I just bumped my knee and had a pain...
It's one of
shock
weird
type things, yeah.
We were talking about that earlier. It's like, yeah, I've had that happen before. It's just kind of weird. It's just that aspect of like, this isn't that bad, but why do I feel nauseous?
Yeah.
Nauseous.
I mean,
You say it that way.
my knee, you don't even see, there's not even a bruise.
Figuring out that your knees are your reset button.
That is my reset
So if I ever need to make you shut up, I just hit you in the knee and you fall over unconscious. That's a total comedy skit right there. Just like, shut up, Chris. Shut up, Chris. Shut up, Chris. Bam. Ugh. Falls over. That's great. But how you doing?
Other than that, fine.
Good. All right. Good. As usual, we're at talkaspirit.com. That's where you can go for all of our links, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, Discord, ways to support us, Patreon, tips, links, all that kind of stuff. It's really appreciated. If you're on YouTube, you could become a member of the channel itself. Greatly appreciate the support. Really doing well on YouTube right now. And it's mostly to do with you, Mushoku Tensei. I'm trying really hard not to make the YouTube channel into a Mushoku channel. I'm like, okay, just these 2 days is nothing but Mushoku because it's, you know, the animes this day and the novels this day. And the rest I'll try to do other stuff. I don't want people to unsub, but the subs are going up, so obviously people like it. I want to ease people into it because I don't want them to sub just for Mushoku and not enjoy the other stuff, I guess is the thing. Because then after the Mushoku stuff is done, they all leave. It's like a variety streamer. It's like you do one thing and then you go variety streaming and everybody goes, I don't like this anymore because you're not playing my game. It's like that. It's the content creator struggle.
Yeah.
It's always around. But trying to create other stuff that people enjoy. But as I told people, I really like talking about Mushoku Tensei, and if people want to watch it, I'm going to keep making it. I have a video right now that I recorded, and I'm very, very unsure if I want to post it because it involves Sylphie. And as I joked with Chris earlier, I'm not afraid of Sylphie fans, but I kind of am. So I'm afraid of Sylphie fans just as I'm afraid of Sylphie herself.
We got into this weird conversation about that. It's like I'm technically a Sylphie fan.
It's so funny because when I think the first time I got my first massive Sylphie hate, I went to Chris and I'm like, dude, I should have Mushoku Monday. And I said something negative about Sylphie, and then people went nuts. I'm like, Chris, Sylphie fans are crazy. And Chris is like, well, I'm a Sylphie fan. And I'm like, oh, you're one of them. No, I think I was bringing up the thing that they got mad about. And you were like, well, I'm a Sylphie fan too. I'm like, oh crap, you're not mad now, are you? Like, I legitimately was like, oh crap, Chris is one of them. And it's scary. Like, not that all Sylphie fans are like vitriol about it. It's just like, it's weird that no other fandom, anime, story, characters have I ever experienced that. Which is great because that means that people really love that character and that's a sign of the writer, but at the same time it's scary when I want to actually talk about the character.
It's one of those
walking on eggshells.
It's one of those weird things when you stop and think about it. It's like I like I said, I really like Sylphie. I've always have. We got a weird kick out of it for the longest time in our Mushoku graduate group, where technically we have at least one of each girl in that group, and we all
joined the group.
Yeah, they joined the group.
Roxy's in there?
There's a Roxy.
I gotta finish the novel, guys. Sorry, no more Mushoku Mondays.
But yeah, each one of us had we at some point you realize that all the girls are great, I can't imagine just being so stuck, because I absolutely adore Roxy. I absolutely love Eris. Each girl has their own thing that they are really, really fantastic in the story for. I guess there's this aspect of Sylphie.
I think it's elsewhere conversations fuel people, I think. That's usually how it goes with me.
I absolutely adore Norn. Norn is in a class of her own. But I absolutely loved when you went through your that moment, because that was literally one of the best parts of the story, that her moment with Rudius when she
be very careful.
Be very careful.
In the anime yet.
It is not in the anime. But yeah, that was a massive moment for me. It hit so hard, and to hear you going through almost the same emotions that I did when I was reading that, it was a massive moment, and I absolutely fell in love with Norn, and I have loved her ever since. It's one of those things that,
I mean, that's the testament to the writing, is that every character I think I love in some way.
Yeah, and I can see there's I used to not. At some point I realized that I should not go, I don't like this character, because I always it was Ellen Elise. It was Ellen Elise, because
it's not an aspect of like, I trust his writing, and it's not an aspect that I don't like the characters. I just assume that eventually they're going to do something. Not that they always have to be like, gosh, I love this person. Like, I'm simping for this character. I want this character as a waifu or husbando. It's more of an aspect of like, I understand them, and I really do appreciate what they are as a character, even if I don't like find them to be a waifu character. I like Goliath, not when I'm being waifu.
The funny thing is
like, for me, just wait, you'll love Goliath eventually.
For me, I got a kick out of watching you, because I've been dying to wait to see if you would ever come around on Ellen Elise. And the fact that you did was, I think, a shining moment, because
if you think about it, it was literally the beginning of season 2 that it all kind of shifts, because before season 2, it's just mostly she likes to sleep around.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is I got a kick out of it, because every time I'd hear you talk about Ellen Elise, and it was like, I want to tell you, she's not that bad. There's a lot of really cool stuff involved with her. Calm down, it's okay. But no, I just sat there and waited, and having you finally come around on her, it was like, yes, finally. It was, for me, it would probably have been Zenobia.
Zenobia?
I did not like him. Zenobia, yeah. I didn't like him.
Master?
I didn't like him. I did finally kind of come around on him. He's just kind of that goofy
I would admit,
buddy.
the anime introduction of him is like, it's Beetlejuice, literally.
Yeah.
Yuki, why only when recording do you snore? She never snores any other time until recording.
And she gets tired of listening to us talk about Mushoku.
She's that tired. She's just like, when she's hearing us talk, she's like, oh gosh, I'm out of it. Yuki, come here. Yuki, come here.
I was having a good dream.
Come here, Yuki, come here.
I was having a good dream. Leave me alone. I want to dream.
But no, in the anime, for the introduction of Zenobia, it's literally like, he's Beetlejuice from ReZero, and he's just over the top cockroach climbing on the walls and stuff, and he's a little bit kind of obnoxious, but I think it was really reading the novel through that section and really getting more perspective of him and really how tragic it is. And yeah, by the time that he comes in later in the picture with obviously season 2, him coming back, it's just like, I love this guy. And I think a part of it was because of how I was portraying his character with the novel analysis. He's such a bro. Like, he's such a bro.
Julia was my turning point for him. It was literally how he dealt with her in a lot of ways. That kind of made me
go, a replacement brother. Like, he literally says, I'm going to call her Juliet, or Julie.
Yeah.
Julius, sorry. I was like, what is the name? It's the male name. I'm going to call him my brother that I killed because I couldn't control my own power. And it's like, oh, Oh, ouch. Ouch. That's how she gets her name. It kind of hurts. Which kind of sucks they didn't kind of emphasize that in the anime, but the point's there. He's naming after his brother. But yeah, I definitely see that. But yeah, anyways, Mushoku. Conversation of Mushoku. Like I said, you get me talking about Mushoku, I enjoy it. Me and Chris don't get to talk about it much because he's always over there going, I don't want to say anything. One of these days, we'll just have an entire podcast just talking about nothing but Mushoku. You know that's going to happen, right? I'll finish the last volume, and it's going to be like, all right, it'll be like a 15-parter series. I'm getting through like a volume every 2 months, something like that. So it'll be sometime next year.
Sometime next year. All right.
But no, everybody's saying like the later volumes is going to be like every Mushoku Monday is going to be a chapter. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be that much, but it could be. I don't know. I guess it depends on what the length of the Mushoku Mondays always turns out to be when there's something in the chapter that I really want to dig into and theorize. That's the problem that most people have, is that when they're reading through it, they're just going, all right, time to read volume 16. And they sit down for like a few hours and they're done. Me, it's like I'm doing a chapter and I'm actually analyzing each sentence. And that's something that most people find interesting with the Mushoku Mondays, because I'm noticing context in there that they just kind of skim over because they just read it as a sentence that bridges to the next sentence. Whereas I'm analyzing each sentence. Well, and so I'm seeing that, not that they don't see that meaning in it, but I'm kind of diving into it and really seeing the significance of it. Because I do think this he doesn't write something for no reason. I've had times where I literally get stuck on each sentence one by one.
And I fully admit that. I technically fell into that same category of I technically listened to it audio-wise. So I blitzed it, and I missed a lot of the context in a lot of the stuff that you talk about. And it's really nice to get both the things that I missed, and at the same time getting things that I caught confirmed. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, some of the things that I caught that you have missed, but it's not very often that you do that, mostly because you're just so hyper analyzing everything. So it is kind of fun to do that, but at the same time, yeah, it kind of sucks that I can't confirm, deny, or point at anything, because technically anything I say literally is spoiler.
I cannot believe you just spoiled that.
I spoiled something.
You spoiled that you can spoil things. That means that something's going to happen. But no, that has been the struggle for most people while I was starting the whole process. Is a lot of people are like, we had a few people for a while that were like, go faster. Don't get stuck on this too much. But I think eventually we got to this point where I think most everybody that listens to or watches the Mushoku Mondays is understanding that this is how it goes. I mean, this is, like I explained to a lot of people, it is the web novel release experience. I am reading chapter by chapter as Refugion's releasing them. Whereas everybody, that's reading the light novel is probably getting a whole novel, a whole volume, and they're blitzing through the whole thing. And it's sort of like that whole episodic versus full dump anime experience sort of difference there, is that idea of, instead of Netflix where they release all 13 episodes and you watch the whole thing and then you tell people what you thought of the ending because everybody watched the whole thing and you don't really have time to think about each individual issue. Instead, it's the episode 1 comes out. Holy crap, that was a really cool episode. I like how they did this, this, and this, and this. Episode 2 comes out. Holy crap, I really like that. This, and this happened. So it is really the binge versus episodic kind of mentality. I think that's the best way to put it. And like I said, I think some people were frustrated at first, but I think at some point people just enjoy that. They like that aspect of like experiencing it with me as it goes along, rather than, say a year ago, I just posted a video saying my review of Mushoku Tensei novel series, and it's a 10-minute video. People go, yeah, cool. And that's it. It's a lot more of a long journey, and it's been a lot of fun for that, which makes me really scared about what I'm going to do next. Because I was pretty dead set on I want to do a sentence of Bookworm.
We kind of
some people are saying do ReZero because that'll be the most popular, obviously. If I wanted to keep the kind of viewership, I'd probably go, if I was driven by I want to keep the viewership, ReZero is easiest next step, because those two writers are like almost feeling like they are in sync. But
yeah,
I want to do a sentence, and I don't think that's going to have very good viewership. And the other one I want to do is Spice and Wolf, and I think that's going to be even less viewership, just because it's been around for so long.
when me and Andrew got into this kind of random conversation about this particular subject, and I was kicking back and forth with him, and I did mention, I think ReZero would probably be the obvious choice. Ascendance would be both a passion, literally, for me and Andrew. I love Ascendance, and I know Andrew loves Ascendance as well. So Bookworm would be the obvious choice as far as passion is concerned, but ReZero is I know that Andrew really loves ReZero, and going into that one would be a natural kind of progression as far as that.
See, because I don't know if Ascendance of Bookworm has like that's the other thing, because I don't think Ascendance of Bookworm has like that
dig into it type stuff.
Yeah, dig into it and like theorize kind of thing. Like I know that it does have some stuff later on, but I don't know that the novels is a lot more in depth. Like I've heard that they cut a lot, which usually happens with adaptation. But with Ascendance of Bookworm.
Ascendance.
I don't think that there's stuff there to really theorize on, really.
Now, ReZero, I wouldn't say there's a lot of stuff that was kind of nicked, but I don't know that outside of like one or two characters, it's like, I don't understand why they didn't bring this character up at certain points in the show, but at the same
Therese.
Time,
like how they cut Therese from a certain, or the how's the best way to put that? A certain individual that was at the end of volume 5 in the light novel series that cooked Rudy as something. For some reason, they decided to cut that from the first season.
Yeah,
and that's a kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
that's kind of a big. But I do understand the idea that Rudy just didn't know who he was, and I guess that technically goes to the storytelling. It's like, so what would it matter if we knew? Rudy just doesn't know. It's not going to affect him. But I mean, eventually he might show back up and say, "Why didn't you like my food?"
Karage.
Why didn't you like my food? Anyways, that's weird.
It's and ReZero is something that I know you would probably get more of a kick out of it as far as that's concerned. I didn't get very far into it. I got to pretty much where the show is, a little bit past it. But as
have
it stands right,
aimed for how many volumes it's going to be? Because I know it's still ongoing.
Currently, it's around 4 volumes of ReZero covered.
Well, no, I mean, how many volumes is he going to write? I don't know if they've said
that.
How
I
many
don't
volumes
know.
Is going.
I have no idea.
At least with Mushoku, I know that it's going to be. It's got an ending, even though they're talked about doing other stuff for it, which we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. That's one of those things of like, oh, so there's something else. I don't want to know what even it might be. I don't want to know if it's a sequel, because that implies things. I don't want to know if it's a restart. I don't want to know anything.
What on Mushoku?
Yeah, I don't want to know anything. I know they have the side story stuff, which I'm hoping
the side stories.
Over here.
I am going to put my foot down on that. You are doing Old Dragon Tale first. Period. Okay. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Apparently, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
But like I said, they got to bring him.
I hope so. Old Dragon's Tale is awesome.
I'm assuming that was written after volume 25.
I'm assuming.
And so
it was actually, from what I understand, it was written
23.
It was written after the
23 the other day, right? So we got 2 more volumes to get. Didn't you plug 23 into my thingy? Question mark?
I don't remember.
It's right above your head. That's 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, it's 23. 23. I have to go with the letters that I can actually read, and I just count over. I can read 20. It's hard to read 23. It's dark in here. I'm not blind.
There is the what is it? Redux. It's the one that there's the one that came out, and he did write it afterwards, and then after that he wrote Old Dragon's Tale, I want to say, and then there's one other one, Oblige. Oblige is the last one you need to read. Old Dragon's Tale is first, and then Redux or whatever the other one's called. I'm sure that there's a million comments about how do I not know that this is what it's called.
I'll forget by the time I get there, but it's okay because Adrian and Nearthly.
Yeah, everybody's going to make you read.
Adrian and Nearthly just guides me everywhere. Like everybody's like that's like the whole thing with season 2, episode 0. It's
Except
like
for Carbon.
Said don't watch the opening part, and I said Okay, I'm not watching the opening part. Everybody got angry. Why didn't you watch the opening part? Nothing happened. And then later on, I get to volume 13 and I'm like, well, I guess that's why I didn't watch that first part, because now they're saying it. I trust those two. If they can point out something that minuscule that most people probably don't think is that big of a deal, I like that. Because I want to be more safe than sorry. So I accept their choices.
Even me, it's like I like for that particular point, it was like I kind of really am frustrated about what they revealed in that particular section. It's like it's not clearly stated what happened, but at the same time, it is there, and it's like if you're not
they've
careful,
done it before. It's like I do think that sometimes the directors and the creators and whatnot, I think they sometimes don't see the significance of things. It's hard to show that in visual medium and not show something.
Yeah,
I mean, they could have just cut it straight to her halfway falling down and then bam on a pig.
Then,
but it's like they chose that. That's the same thing with the whole Sylphie necklace thing. Why did they do that? That isn't. It's not that it's a big deal, but at the same time, it's kind of weird. Why would you have Lilia say who the necklace was from? Whereas in the novel, he never knew. He thought it was Lilia. Why? That's a weird change. Again, unless they just think it's not that big of a deal and we don't want to have to explain this, just have her say it.
Well, I wonder in some cases if it's just known that the people who are going to be watching it are already technically read it.
Yeah.
And
that's my assumption because, shoot, what happened at that big reveal when they first announced that season 2 was coming up that the day it did? They flashed on the screen the last volumes.
Yeah.
And the covers are massive spoilers. And I'm like, don't look. And everybody's like, Andrew, don't look at the stream. I'm like, I'm not looking already. That's why I'm reading you type this. It's bizarre. And I think that is, I think that's really true. I think they understand that most of their viewership is people that have read it. Because obviously they have the numbers for the novels. They know they've sold a bunch more ever since the first season. They probably figure that most people read on and they're just doing this as a service now. Which does suck because there's a lot of people that can't or just don't want to read the novels. They want to just watch the animated format of it. Which is it's a big bummer. And again, I think it partly is to do with the fact that I think some people just don't believe. Some people don't think things are as spoilery as other people's do. I mean, that's like the whole situation with Sylphie. Literally, they were joking about it in the live stream. They're like, who could Fitz be? And then literally episode 0 comes out and was like, okay. And like, that could have been fun. Instead, everybody's frustrated with Sylphie. Have you noticed that? I don't think you noticed that, but I've noticed that with a lot of comments. It's like, I think because of how they're portraying Fitz, people are hating Sylphie. It's taken the mystique out of Fitz and instead put it on why isn't she saying anything?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. It's all in how you portray it, really.
It really is. And it's funny because all you have is... I remember when I was going through it, I got so stuck on the hair. I really did get stuck on the hair. Because I
That's
sat
why
there...
he so badly wants to tell me something about the hair, and I won't let him tell me about it. He's so obsessed with the hair.
I literally did, and it's funny because I had the same. I remember somebody else who was reading through it, and they were stuck on it as well. They kept going, no, this is obviously this character, and I'm like, well,
it was the side story for me. I was convinced it was her, and that was my assumption was something changed her hair. But that one side story, I want to think that Refugin did it on purpose. One of the side stories, she walks out and greets Fitz. And I was like, that would have been perfect to animate that. Because yes, it's a visual medium. It's going to be very obvious. Okay, it's a white-haired Sylphie. And people are constantly going, that's got to be her. She keeps talking about, I mean, she didn't do it in the anime, but in the novel, she kept talking about this master that taught her everything. And he's so genius. And she wants to get back to him. And yes, they mentioned the fact that she's looking for a family and everything. But it was that, I was like dead set it's her. I mean, everybody knows this that watched Mushoku Mondays. But then that side story, and I'm like, okay, either she has a split personality. She's got like some kind of split personality where one snap, she suddenly becomes this other character. Or it's actually two people. Super bizarre. And it kept that mystique to me until eventually it's revealed. And I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But but again, it allowed me not to be constantly going, why aren't you saying something? Why aren't you saying something? Why aren't you? I just assumed that Sylphie was always off the side with Ariel, constantly with Ariel, because every time you heard about her, she was with Ariel. But no, she'd been with Rudeus the whole time as Fitz. That's the big twist. And the anime fans not to have that, it almost feels like a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like it's painting her as just not wanting to commit. And if you know her story, you understand that it sucks. I understand. It breaks my heart that she's not willing to say anything, but anime fans aren't really getting any of that. Instead, they're getting frustrated. Why won't she say something? And it was only in this recent episode, finally, she said, I'm afraid of him not remembering me. Yeah. It's like, it took you 9 episodes before you finally reveal that she's scared.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I really adored the constant. I made a joke with Andrew and Carbon when he was going through it. It was like, I adore Sylphie, but I love Fitz Senpai, and it kept throwing everybody off. This is the joke. The joke is, okay, this massive reveal at some point. Yeah, I didn't cheat. It's still the same character. So it is kind of frustrating that watching it from even the standpoint.
Say it right, by the way.
What?
What would Master Fitz say?
What would Master Fitz say?
Or what would Master Fitz do? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've used that one.
Himitsu.
I actually brought that up here recently with the
nice show.
It's chapter 12 of volume 13. I finally brought it up again. It was this aspect of like Rudeus couldn't figure out what to do, and he's like, he thinks about that, and I'm like, he's totally going, where's Master Fitz? I can't figure out what to do right now. Where's Master Fitz at? And he's looking around, and I have this little character on the screen that's popping in and out behind me. Like, it's totally like Rudeus. It's so funny. Volume 1. This is so funny, and we're doing pretty dang good so far for all the anime onlys. Volume 1 of Mushoku, and I just read this again here recently because this video I'm making. In that video, or in that first volume, when Paul makes the decision to send Rudeus off, the reason why he's sending Rudeus off is because he's afraid of Rudeus being around Sylphie. Law's, Sylphie's father, is like, she adores him. She adores your son. It's an inevitability they're going to get hitched later on. And Paul's like, I'm good with that. To have another cute daughter in the family, I'm perfectly fine with that. But the thing that stuck in his head was the day before was a conversation where Rudeus said, can you pay for Sylphie too? Okay, can I get a job? Can you get me a job so I can pay for Sylphie's tuition? Paul didn't like that because he's literally making Sylphie dependent on him. And he's afraid of that. He's afraid that Rudeus, who has my blood, will eventually grow up and be just like me because he's got my blood and run off after other girls. And what if he doesn't choose Sylphie? She's so dependent on him that she would break. That's why he sent Rudeus off. And it's so funny that, again, like I said, this recent Mushoku Monday where I went this one chapter where literally Rudeus is showing that he can't handle things without Sylphie. And it's like, it's full circle. He can't decide what to do in difficult situations because he needs Master Fitz. And I just got a huge kick out of that. Like, holy crap, it's full circle now. He can't be without her. The reliable Master Fitz is all it is. It's too funny. Are we done talking about Mushoku? Is there something else you would talk about?
I was gonna say something, then you got onto your
my
Sylphie thing.
Random volume. There's so much good stuff in volume 1. Like, that's such a good start. Like, it's so surprising how good that first volume is. It's one of those ones where I can read parts of it and I can still kind of go, it's like that. There's still parts of it that I can read and go, holy crap. It almost feels like it's tied in with right now, 12 volumes later. Like, everything has significance in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, I'm going to have a really long Mushoku Tensei novel review. I don't even know where to... It's one of those ones where it's going to be so difficult to talk about without spoiling things.
Will I be allowed to talk in that one?
You can. Like I said, we're gonna have like a 15-hour podcast, I'm sure. So if you want both, we can just video record the whole thing of us sitting in here.
Might as well.
Like, it's one of those ones where like you can skim through the video, and it's like a 15-hour long video, and like you can see us like slowly over time slouching over, and our eyes getting more tired, and we're starting to slouch down more until the very end. We pop back up and go, "That was great." It'll be that long of it. That's literally us when we do our debates or our yearly anime debates. It's like that whole thing of, I just know if you listen to the first part of it and the last part of it, it probably sounds like we're just completely dying. We've gotten to the point where we're doing good at cutting it down and condensing it. Like I do a lot of pre-setup with what shows we're actually going to have in each category. Oh, dude, Ira mentioned the other day, we got to start the community picks. I'm like, is it that time already? Yeah, technically right now we're going to start doing our winter picks. Because we do, for those that don't know, Discord, again, otakuspirit.com, there's a link there. I think I also have discord.otakuspirit.com. I think it's a thing to go directly there. But no, it's like, we start now with our community picks for the best of the year. That way, we can have about a week to 2 weeks, depending on the topic, and people can select and vote what their picks are. And so we start now because we have seasonals, we have best girl, best boy, we have best adventure and action, all these different genres. Then we have the best of the year at the very end. So by the time we get to around the first week of January, that's when we're picking fall and we're picking the best of the year. So it's giving it plenty of time. That's why we start now. Unlike other services that decide to do their nominations while the seasons are still going on, I won't say the name of it. We let people have plenty of time to pick that. And we already know, I'm assuming most people know what their best for winter and spring is because it's been gone for a while. So yeah, we're starting that. And that scared me when he brought that up. I'm like, oh God, we're doing that already. So yeah, expect that to pop up. We'll have a channel for it.
That's just crazy that to suddenly realize that we're this far into the year. But I guess, yeah, we're into the 9th month of the year now.
Mm-hmm. We got previews for fall coming up in literally 2 weeks.
Oh.
And it's a big season, Chris.
Of course it is.
Did I tell you that?
Wouldn't surprise me.
We're going on, like, I think 66 or 67 shows right now listed for next season.
Anything look exciting?
There's a lot of good stuff, Chris. There's a lot of good stuff. It's gonna be a massive season.
I can't even keep up with 40 shows. What are you talking about? I'm gonna go into 60 shows.
Let me see. What was the big one? I know there's one that's like a super big one for me. Holy crap! My my thing still zoomed extremely out. That's right. A Girl and Her Guard Dog. Yes. No, it's Frieren. Frieren's like literally. I think Frieren's like the biggest excitement for me, and having that 2-hour premiere for it is just. It's massive. Like I'm hyping myself up. I have read a little bit of it, but I am hyping myself a lot. I mean, Faraway Paladin's coming back. Under Ninja, Dr. Stone's coming back.
Faraway Paladin.
16-bit. The Aoyuki as the alchemist girl. That's coming out. Remember that one that was like super gorgeous looking? Apothecary Diaries. That's gonna be insane. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to see the pictures of it. It's got Aoyuki. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
It's Aoyuki. Oh, yeah. Heat the pig liver. That's big. What was the other one? I know there's something else. A lot of returning shows, though. I'm pretty hyped for Faraway Paladin. That's right. That's finally coming back. Saint Magic Powers Omnipotence getting a second season. It's finally coming, Chris. It feels like they announced that forever ago.
Legit
Spy Family is coming back. But it's crazy. And then we still have Helk and everything still going on. Helk, Dark Gathering, Jujutsu Kaisen still going. Rurouni Kenshin still going. It's crazy. Like I said, a good 60... It's over 65, I know that. But it's just going to be... It's like they didn't learn anything from winter. So we're doing this again. I plan on making a video sometime this week about talking about that. Because like it goes back to that whole discussion about why winter was so crazy. And I thought they'd learn their lessons. Aniplex isn't involved this time. With winter, it was like Aniplex had like 5-6 shows, and it was mostly all their shows that were delaying. Doesn't seem to be the case this time around. And you have big hitters like Madhouse that's coming out with such a crazy start, and I'm assuming they have pretty much a good bit of Frieren done because a lot of it's in the PVs. So I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared for anime right now. There's a lot of really good looking shows too. Like Shangri-La looks really fantastic. Frieren looks amazing. Fully Cooley I think looks pretty good.
Not gonna watch it.
Yeah. Under Ninja, we've been waiting for that for forever. Holy crap. It feels like they announced Under Ninja like forever ago. And it's finally coming out. But anyways, look, we got some news to go through, Chris. We talked for like a half hour.
No, Mushoku Tensei.
So yeah.
Roxy,
yeah.
we love Roxy.
Yeah, she's great.
We love Eris.
Nobody could tell that I like Roxy.
We love Eris.
But no, I'm on the same page with you. I totally do this. I'm on the same page with you that I like pretty much every single character in the show. I think most people's frustration that I have around Sylphie is I just don't find her to be the best, and I think that's what upsets people. You have to say they're the best.
My
It's like they come in the chat and they go, "Who's the best?" And I'm like, "Well, I prefer Roxy, but I like all of them. But who's the best? Is it my character?"
Well,
when they're saying that they have an avatar, their profile picture is of Sylphie, and you're like, it's totally Sylphie.
It's
was it I don't yeah, it was Noah. Noah in our chat for the Mushoku Mondays always pops in and gives a donation every single Mushoku Monday and says Sylphie's best girl. And I'm like, yeah. And I just do a bunch of Sylphie emotes. It's like, yeah.
What I was going to say when I was bringing up the whole Norn thing is there is this aspect that with Norn, her going through what she went through and me wanting, you get this kind of protectiveness about these certain characters, but I don't know that like you were mentioning earlier, is once the book is closed, it's a book. Yeah, I love the story. I love the characters. Each one of those characters.
Are you saying that Norn's not a real person?
No, Norn is not a real person.
Aisha's not a real person? Hentai des.
No, I think that Sylphie is technically in that category of a character that you want to protect type person, and
she does not need protecting.
No, she does.
That girl kills. That girl kills.
My point is that I think that is kind of her persona is the kind of cutesy, more
childhood friend that got bullied.
Yeah, childhood friend that got bullied, and she brings up those desires to protect, and so that is kind of maybe why. I don't know. I don't understand people when they can't disconnect. So I'm just throwing it out there.
I mean, it's an interesting broader question mark with a lot of this stuff. Like I said, I've never really faced it with any other fandom but with this one. But that is technically a thing that sometimes when we all have fun with the waifu debates. I mean, we do that with everything. Every show we watch, we always have that fun of going, who's best girl? Like Snafu. I like Yu Yu Gahama. You go to Sword Art Online, there's people that like, there's a billion girls in that show. You pick your characters and...
Silica's best girl.
I was trying to think of the blacksmith girl. I haven't watched that show in so long.
Lisa?
Yeah, I think it is. Elizabeth or whatever, yeah. We all have like our best girls, and it's like and we always have that fun debate. It's a fun debate.
I just got Asada. Come it, Andrew. Hate that scene. Because I like that character too, but dadgum, that scene messed me up.
He ruined you. You let the bad guy ruin your perspective of a character. But I don't know. Like I said, I think it's fun with every single anime to have the waifu debate. I think it is a fun thing. To say why you like something or not. But I will admit that I've gotten to a point where for a lot of those debates, I don't really get involved with them just because I just don't care to get the conversation. I have better things to spend my time. It's fun. I'm not gonna be a Debbie Downer with the whole situation, and I'll still express who I like, but the debate is where it's like, I just don't feel it anymore. Like, I don't feel the desire to get in there and make my voice heard and give my reasoning for why everybody should accept that I'm right and they're wrong.
There is this aspect of it can be fun for a little while until you start getting really kind of pushy with it,
or you repeat yourself.
Yeah, you can't push it so far that And that I think is one of the things.
There was another one that was super heated. Darling in the Franxx. Holy crap, Ichigo and 02. That was... Ichigo did nothing wrong. Was it named Ichigo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap, that got nasty. People got nasty with that whole thing. And it was a lot to do with that fact of that kiss. It's like suddenly everything just exploded on the internet. It was like, wow. Again, do we not disconnect? Like, they were I'm not saying everybody did this. There was people threatening the writers. They were threatening the writers over that whole thing. And it was like, I understood why the character did it. There's nothing, I don't necessarily see something wrong. People are going to be threatening me now. You don't talk about that because somebody threatened somebody, they're going to threaten you now. It is always interesting when it gets to that point where it's like, okay.
Y'all going down a path I can't follow.
So, yeah, about those Dodgers. So, anybody watching good football games lately? I really like the Eagles. Just trying to think of anything. So, you like NASCAR? I like when they turn left. It's really cool. A lot of them. It's bizarre. Like I said, I don't know. I could just assume that it's just people that get a little bit too passionate about it. And again, like I was mentioning earlier, and I didn't get to talk about it. I do think there's an aspect of sort of the wind-up effect. I'm going to call it the wind-up effect. I don't really have a better term for it. I think I've thought of something to call it before because it is a term that I want to make because I feel I'm running into it too much. It's like the whole ex-girlfriend kind of thing that we made that term, the ex-girlfriend, the Sword Art Online ex-girlfriend syndrome, where everybody loves it, and then later on, it's like they broke up with you, and you're trying to tell everybody how nasty she is. Don't go watch her. It's the same thing with this one. It's like a wind-up effect where a good example was Trigun Stampede. When I was watching Trigun Stampede, I was doing videos on it. People were enjoying watching it, and every episode I would do an impressions video, talk about my thoughts of the episode. And of course, there was the lack of a certain character that was literally my favorite character of the original series. And I talked about it the first few episodes, like, wow, it's crazy that she's not here. And then later on, way late in the series, something happens that kind of opens the door to that character showing up. And I made the joke, this would be the perfect time for her to show up. And it was something like that. I just made a passing joke, because I knew that there was certain people that didn't like people bringing it up. Like, she's not there, stop talking about her. I made a one-sentence joke in this, like, 12-minute long video. One sentence, probably 3 seconds if at most. And somebody wrote 3 paragraphs yelling about, stop talking about her. She's the worst character ever. And goes in this big long tirade about how she's just fan service and you're an idiot for bringing her up. Stop bringing her up. And I'm like, wait, was that for me? Or were you on Reddit and you read somebody posting, you got upset at them, so you decided to come over here and post it over here? Or did you copy and paste it from somewhere else where you were having an argument? Like, where is this coming from? It's the wind-up effect. I think there's an aspect of people going somewhere else, talking a bunch, and there's this, sometimes it gets heated and it goes back and forth. And then finally when they come over to another community or another chat room and that's brought up, they carry over that anger. And they think everybody around them is the people they just talked to. And they go to the extremes with it really quickly.
I think that is very true. I think that there is the social media aspect involved in that. And I think
like we were talking before with the extremes.
Yeah, I think that there is just this so much. They feel like they have to defend something everywhere. And when they get through the whole defending it everywhere, they get so wrapped up in that it becomes a part of their yeah, it becomes a part of their persona in such a fact that they just feel like they have to unload on everything.
And I made a great argument over here, so I'm just gonna copy it over.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It almost feels like, well, you're bringing up things that I don't think I ever talked about. It's like, that's not me. Did you come to the wrong video? Did you accidentally click on the wrong tab?
Well, there's also the aspect of, I think that people assume things.
Yes.
They believe that they're reading between the lines for some odd reason. It's like, I get quoted as saying certain things. It's like, I don't remember ever saying that. I do remember saying something to the effect of this, and this.
But they heard somebody else say
But
something similar to that.
yeah,
but something else.
You're either trying to misconstrue and believing that I said this when I never said that. That's just like, God forbid, I bring up the freaking AI crap all
bring
over
up
again.
AI,
but
Chris.
again, we don't hate Bitcoin. We don't hate AI. We have questions about it. And so we bring those things up.
No, we only hate Ethereum, Chris.
I love Ethereum. No.
You gotta pick your winners.
No, of all of them, I want to say Ethereum. If I remember right, I think that Ethereum was one of the ones that I was saying that I thought had the best.
What was the anime one? Remember we were talking like a year ago about there being like an anime one. Was it like Tokyo Takamoto, I think, was back in it?
I want to say, yeah.
That was like, oh, this is gonna be a thing. Crickets. Crickets. But no, it goes to that whole thing of the extremes that we talked about, I think, last podcast or the one before then, was that aspect of it almost feels like people just assume you are this extreme. So if you say, dog, oh my gosh, that means you murder cats. No, I just like dogs. But I know a lot of people that murder cats when they like dogs. So you obviously murder cats. It's like, okay, let's start from the middle and let's talk from there. That's where I gotta get that point where I was like, let's just start in the middle and talk from there. I think that's where all conversations need to start. And so when I say a passing joke about a character missing from Trigun Stampede, let's start with, oh, so why do you want her there? Okay, now let's start talking. Don't just immediately think that I hate the whole show because she's not there. I have my other problems with Trigun. I have my own problems with Trigun Stampede. That's not one of them. I hated the old fart, okay? That was what it was, because I think I joked about the fact that I didn't like the old guy in that show. The person that was pretty much there in place of her. He was just boring. He was the old veteran that was just like, ugh. Let's just do our job and get out of here. He doesn't want to get involved with anything. Anyways, I'm not getting back into that. So, Mushoku. We do have newses. We're like 47 minutes in and we have newses, Chris. Have you ever heard of Kimi no ni Todoke? Kimi ni
yes,
Todoke?
Loved it.
Is it Kimi no
Kimi
Kimi
ni.
no
Kimi ni.
Kimi no Todoke?
Anyway, I love this show. What do you want to talk about?
Do you want more?
Yes.
Well, you're in luck. Netflix has got your back. No, Kimi ni Todoke is...
Where's my pirate cat?
Kimi ni Todoke has announced that it's getting a sequel by Production IG, returning cast, or at least the two main characters apparently are reprising their roles. And the two characters, they're going to come back to the animation. I don't know who's going to voice them, but they're coming back to the show.
Okay.
No, the seiyus are coming back.
Probably be important that the main characters come back to the main show.
2023. I'm sorry, 2024. It's not that quick. Yes, it's another fall show, Chris. But no, Netflix, I think they were the first people to tweet about it. But it's coming to Netflix, 2024. Kimi ni Todoke. Now I can't say it because I joked about it for too long. Kimi ni Todoke. It's coming back for season 3. In 2024 on Netflix by Production IG. Get on it, Andrew. I trolled people because like the moment that popped up, I'm like, okay, cool. I retweet or quote retweeted it and I said, what's this show and should I watch it?
Oh, you got read. I've been telling you to watch that show for forever.
I didn't get as many responses that I thought I would. I don't think most people. I think most people either haven't watched it or they just knew that I was trolling. So they're like, yeah, whatever. But now there's a few people like, holy crap, it's like only like one of the most best-selling things and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
I don't know about all that, but it is a good show.
When should I post a reply showing my Blu-rays sitting on the shelf that I bought that I never watched? Yeah,
it's a good excuse to go and watch it.
Kimi ni Todoke is like one of those shows where Andrew goes, okay, I should probably watch this. I'll buy it. And that'll push me to watch it. And then I don't watch it, even though I bought it to force myself to watch it. I do that. I have a ton of them on my shelf. I bought it back in the day to force myself to watch it. I never watched it. So that'll be one of them. But I have I'm gonna assume that's probably gonna be like maybe a summer release. I would assume probably a summer release. I mean, it's just getting announced, and it's coming next year. I'd assume that's probably gonna be a little bit ways out.
I could see it being in the spring as well.
Could be. I mean, they got pretty tight-lipped with that. If that's the case, like no leaks on that one. I don't think I heard of any leaks of that. So either way, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool to see. I mean, it's another one of those ones that, what was that, 2011, the second season of that came out? So, yeah, over 12 years, now going on 13 years before the third season comes out. We got to go back into like that area of the 2006 to 2011. I think around that area, and look at all the shows and see what else is going to get a sequel. It's that area. Like, everything's coming out of that area of years that's getting another sequel, another season. Now, granted, like Spice Wolf, I think it was a little bit before then, but having things come back, like, you know, Devil's a Part-Timer and stuff. It's like, what is this thing now? Why are we suddenly out of nowhere pulling these old shows? Let's just running out of ideas. Just do some more of that. they're turning into Hollywood. They're remaking things and bringing stuff back from the dead, and I'm all for it because we talked about that before. It's literally the anime industry is becoming Hollywood. But unlike Hollywood finishes the stories and then they retell the stories over and over again, or they try to make something else from it. Whereas anime, they're bringing stuff back from the old days, but most everything they're bringing back was never finished. So we're finally getting them finished. That's like Spice and Wolf. Pray to all goodness they fully adapt that now. You're bringing it back. You're starting from the beginning. Do the whole thing, please. Or at least most of it. Don't just do a season. 2 seasons, was it? Yeah, 2 seasons, and then, like, they're done. We'll see, though. That's cool news. But, yeah, are you ready to play Fit Boxing? Did you ever play Fit Boxing?
No, I did the Wii Fit.
You never did?
Or no.
You did the Ring one.
Yeah, Ring Fit, yeah.
Yeah, Ring Fit. Are you ready to do boxing, though? Hatsune Miku is going to get a Fit Boxing game.
Maybe I'll give it a shot.
that was totally one of those ones when I read that, I'm like, oh, if that comes out over here, I'm totally Fit Boxing. But yeah, apparently Exercise Together with Miku for Nintendo Switch is coming out in Japan in spring 2023. Or I guess I could technically import it if it's not that difficult to understand the menu systems. Sometimes they have like English menu systems too.
I think they're getting kind of good about I think that Fit Boxing's already on in America.
Oh, I know the regular one's here, but a Hatsune Miku one is a different story.
I would assume it's just a module. I don't know. Oh, we'll see. I've did a few times. The thought of it, trying it has crossed my mind. But I do like the aesthetic of Ring Fit, so it kind of worked for me. It was really nice to have them allowing me to get into the Japanese voice pack. That made it a million times better. But yeah, I've enjoyed Ring Fit. It actually worked out really well for me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looks like a full game. So, which makes sense because it's probably going to play a little bit different than the other one, having her module in there and everything like that. I'm assuming they probably have music in there as well.
Yeah,
that would be a miss if they didn't have some of her music in there.
I think Fit Boxing has music to box to. It's pretty much a rhythm game.
You gotta.
I want to say it's just a rhythm game, and
just don't play on extreme mode. You're doing like the whole rolling punch kind of thing going on to try to keep up with it. Because just kind of stand there like, what's wrong? Why you look tired? It's like, no. And then you miss that one last punch. Always at the end. You always miss that last note. Anyways. Pretty cool. Like, having to do with the whole thing we were talking about earlier with Frieren, being like super hyped for Andrew. We've talked about it before where it's kind of cool that it's going to have a 2-hour premiere. It's going to be on a, like, typically used for, like, theatrical stuff on television type of channel, NTV, which is a massive change because they've never really had anything anime related. Well, they were talking about how they were going to actually name a block. This is, of course, on Nippon Television Network. NTV is where they're going to have Frieren, which makes sense. I never knew that technically NTV, Nippon Television Networks owns Madhouse. So that makes sense why they're going to air Frieren on their network. It's because they own the company. They own 95% stock. I think Sony owns the other 5%. But the idea there was that this is the first time they're going to have anime on that block. And that's a big deal. Which also makes you believe that it's going to be a full 2-hour long actual episode, not, minus half the runtime for ads. But the cool thing was that they were obviously going to name that block. Well, this is basically them creating an actual anime block. They call it the Friday Anime Night block, or it's gonna be on Friday night. No, it's actually called Friday Anime Night. Is that literally the name of the block?
It's fan. Duh. It's fan.
Do you think that goes over well with in the Japanese way? Yeah, it's called Friday Anime Night. Anyways, that's a dumb name. They named the block. It's NTV's block. I'm not gonna call it Friday Anime Night in the future.
What night is But
it makes me curious. The idea of this is like our next I'm gonna be watching this like a hawk going forward, like Noitamina.
I was gonna say, I wonder when
because Noitamina has kind of hasn't excited me in a while. I mean, I enjoy all the stuff they're releasing, but it hasn't been like we used to be like, holy crap, what's coming up next? Holy crap, that's gonna be great. Holy crap, it's great. I mean, there was a few times early on there was like little flops, like Battery wasn't that great. But for the most part,
it's
like every season was like, holy crap, I like this stuff. They were always art house and super good.
They're competing.
I thought Noitamina was like Saturday.
It's Friday.
Is it Friday?
Yeah.
But no, I think that's going to be the next one I'm probably going to be watching for a while now is whatever's going to pop up on that block.
I'm actually...
This is Friday at 11 p.m.
11 p.m.? This is Thursday night, Friday morning.
For where? Thursday night in Japan, and then goes into Friday morning? Okay, I get what you're saying. Goes through midnight. Yeah, that would be... I don't know how big Noitamina is. I assume that's pretty significant because a lot of their titles early on were really good, and they were getting a lot of really great art house types of stuff.
Yeah.
More adult in that regard. But like I said, this has got me excited, especially since this shows that they're going to continue doing this. This isn't like a one-off. We're doing Frieren on this channel, and then we'll go back to doing the regular, normal broadcast. This shows that they're wanting to make this an actual block that's going to go on in, I guess, following seasons. My question mark is that block a full 2 hours? They just say that the block starts at 11 p.m. I'd be curious if that's going to be a full 2 hour long block because they're going to obviously have the 2 hour long premiere. Or premiere is going to be the first episode is going to be that 2 hours, and going forward it's going to be a half hour every night, 11 p.m. I would assume that's the case because I don't know they want to stick a bunch of other shows doing repeats to fill in that gap. But either way, it means that like going forward, I'm probably going to be looking out for whatever pops up on NTV if it's going to be as equally as great as, again, theatrical type shows, something like Frieren, which looks incredibly theatric.
Madhouse tends to do really good stuff, so...
But it also makes sense because, again, there's a lot of rumors that it might possibly be 2 quarters, so why not call it a block? Because you're going to be... a half a year you're going to be running this show, if that's true. Again, quote-unquote leak. But I'm excited. I'm jazzed.
How many shows per season does Madhouse generally do, do you know? Off the top of your head?
At most 1. I don't think I've ever seen a season that has 2 Madhouse. There's a lot of seasons they don't have shows. I think right now they have Gene of AI. Well, let's look it up, Chris. Madhouse. I want to say that it's... I think we've mostly only had a show a season for them. So I don't think we had anything in... I don't think we had anything in spring for them. No, Yamada-kun... Which was that winter or is that spring? Spring. Yep, there's winter. Oh, nobody counts the stupid vampire dies in no time. Nobody counts that show. That wasn't even a show. And then Bibliophile Princess, and then Overlord before then. So 1 a season. They've been pretty consistent for a while. Goodbye, Don Gleese. That's a movie, right? Whatever that is. I never watched it. I'm sure it's amazing for all those that watched it that are mad right now. Anyways, by the way, did you watch One Piece live action, Chris?
No.
You didn't?
No.
It was actually...
No.
Did you watch my video?
No.
You didn't watch my video?
No.
Or are you just saying no for the sake of being a joke?
I was carrying on the joke.
I'm like, yeah, I wasn't sure if you're carrying on the joke or if you're like, yeah, no, I literally didn't watch it.
No, I really didn't watch it. I haven't really gotten onto YouTube lately, so yeah, I got a lot of catching up to do.
You ready for a shocker?
What's that? Wait, it was wonderful.
The first good Netflix anime live action adaptation. I'm not joking. It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. It's still got the cringe factor in there somewhere. There's still a cringe factor in there. I can't see actors running around with pink hair and not, go, that doesn't look like that fits that character's make and everything. There's still that cringe factor of like some of the characters have like terrible cosplay on. Then you have some characters have like their hair color just looks dumb on them. And there's still a bit of a goofiness to somebody like a person acting out Luffy who, yeah, he's goofball. There is aspects that just doesn't translate to live action still.
Was Nami cute?
Yeah. Zoro's great.
Zoro's great.
Zoro was so cool, dude. Zoro was so freaking cool. Like, for the first half, like, Zoro was what sold me on that show. I'm like, this dude's so cool. And the fight choreography with him was super cool.
Really?
Like, even when he does the whole thing with the sword in his mouth.
Well, that was the thing that me and Andrew were talking about the other day. I was like,
you'd think that
I don't know that could work.
They made it work.
They made it work. Though.
They didn't put too much emphasis on him actually like hitting things with it, but yeah, every now and then you have like him hold it up to somebody's neck or something like that, and it worked. It worked. You knew that whenever he put the sword in his mouth, he's gonna get serious. And I think a lot of the fights, especially like with Sanji too, I think a lot of the fight scenes were really good. They didn't overplay Luffy's stretchiness when he's fighting, which I think wouldn't work in a lot of cases. The special effects were really good. The sets were really incredible. Like they did actual like practical sets, which is probably why it cost as much as it did for them to put it together. It looked good. They realized the world, and it did feel like they dialed back a lot on all of the quirkiness. They didn't try to make it the anime. And I think they found a nice balance where they didn't lose too much of that goofiness and that charm, but at the same time didn't go ham on it and just make it look really dumb and cheesy. It's a good mix.
That was kind of the argument I made for The Last Airbender. When me and my son went to watch it, he was absolutely furious with that movie. And I told him that it wasn't the greatest. I did appreciate that what they were trying to do was tone down a lot of that to make it more believable. You can't pull off,
you can't always have like the reaction of everybody shocked and suddenly they're all going, what? And their faces extend out. It's like, no, you can't do that. You have to make them look like people because they're people on the screen.
Exactly.
It's like that argument you make all the time with like the character that was riding the bike and they're going like super fast and they have the lines stretching across the screen. It's like, no, stop being anime. Just be a person on a bike.
That was actually Skip Beat. I really loved the show, and watching it in the live action version of it just, there's a disconnect there that you just can't pull off. And they always try to do it. That's the reason why I really need to go and watch that stupid Dragon Ball, but I know it won't work. You have
to see it just to see it.
Yeah, there's no way that you can pull that off. If you were I halfway, one of the main reasons I was okay with the Death Note series was that it wasn't trying to go for the goofy of like Ryuk and stuff like that. You can't do that. It's not viable. Toning down the exaggerated nature of it and just kind of make it more low key as far as
more grounded, I think.
Yeah, more grounded. You can have exaggerated emotions per se, but not too much. Live action does not work on the exaggerated nature of animation for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what they do with that one. And There's a side of me that's like, I'm happy that they grounded it while still having a little bit of the silliness, but at the same time, I fully acknowledge that I think that's probably why it lost a lot of its charm, because it wasn't a very charming show, and you would assume that One Piece oozes charm.
It does.
The characters themselves and their experiences together, and the silliness and the goofiness, and again, Luffy probably being just what little clips I've watched and stuff like that. I know that Luffy's a goofy character. I didn't feel that. It just felt like a bunch of people that were going out being pirates, and Luffy's talking about dreams, and he gets everybody inspired to go follow their dreams, and that was about all I got from that charmness. And from that, it was just really cool set pieces, cool fight scenes, and their adventure, which I honestly, credit to them. I kind of want to go read/watch it now, because it does have a lot going for it that I didn't really think that, and I assume that it did have something going for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have people watching thousands of episodes or millions of chapters. I'm assuming there are a million chapters now.
I mean, even watching the first season that I did, I mean, I did see.
And this was like this covered. Now I know they skipped a lot. I looked in the anime, and where they got to in the anime was at episode 45. That's how far they got into it.
Wow.
From my understanding, they skipped quite a bit. So.
That is quite.
It didn't feel like it skipped anything, but I'm sure that people that know the source material, like, that they skipped something really big. I think they were saying something about Buggy, the clown, that they skipped something with him that was pretty significant for him. Instead, they chose to show this decimated town, which I guess if they're going for, it was like a bomb or something like that they skipped. That was their way of showing it. I don't know. Buggy was pretty cool too. Like, I kind of cringed when he first showed up on the screen, but he was actually a pretty cool character. He seems like he's going to be that character that's bad, but sort of
the Michael Jackson
goofy.
guy.
The Michael Jackson guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
The Claw guy. He kind of looked like Michael Jackson. I don't know, like which Michael Jackson guy. They all look kind of. There's a couple characters that could be Michael Jackson. I don't know. It was good though. It's not incredible, but like. You're on the right track, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, I'm open to give credit where credit's due. I've been extremely critical of Netflix anime adaptations into live action. They all suck, in my opinion. I did not like Cowboy Bebop. It had some cool moments in it. Didn't like it. But this one was like, okay, you're onto something. You spent way too much money on it, apparently, and you're probably not going to do any more, and you're probably going to cut Oda free rather than have to get him on board again like last time. But because that's the only way I can see them continuing. Like, they apparently spent, like, pretty close to what they spent on Stranger Things. It's a big production on something that's technically going to be niche still. Like, I don't see this capturing a bigger audience. The moment somebody turns on the first episode of One Piece, the live-action adaptation, and see a character with pink hair that's whining a bunch, they're going to turn it off. It's just that reality. This is One Piece. This is niche. And they're trying to capture that bigger audience. If they somehow got enough viewership for it that justified it, I can see them probably, if they want to do more, they'll probably dial back the production. And they're probably going to not have Oda on board again. Because they kept him on board, and it sounds like they had a lot of struggle being on the same page. Even Oda himself mentioned that, or admitted that. I don't know they'd want to do that again for another season. Because it did take them a while to make this, and to have him on board again for the next. And there's a part of me that kind of thinks that they probably couldn't do a second season and still hold in the fandom without him on board. But at the same time, I am hearing a lot of positivity out of people. Like, this has gotten some really good scores. I wanted to go and watch a review from an actual One Piece fan because, yeah, I even admitted on my video. This is me reviewing it, and I have no clue. Like, I've watched clips, but I have no information about One Piece. I've never watched it. And I'm curious if, from what I'm seeing from a few people that know One Piece, they did a good job. Like, they did enjoy it. So that's something to both entertain a non-fan and entertain fans. So they're obviously onto something good. Yeah. Whoever worked on this, and it's probably because they had Oda on board the whole time. He probably kept them on track. They probably wanted to screw everything up, and he kept going, no, no. And there was probably a lot of pushback from them saying, look, that's going to be too goofy, but we need to have Luffy do this. It's going to be too goofy. We can't do that with Luffy. Otherwise, it's going to look really cheesy. There is still a little bit of cringe in there that doesn't translate, but it was a good job. And the only other thing I want to complain about is too many face close-ups. I hate face close-ups. They get the camera right like they're trying to see how many hairs are coming out your nose. I hate those shots. This is partly why I stopped watching Western stuff. It's just like this new thing they love to do where they stick the camera up in people's noses, and I'm like, are you people watching Gohans?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you get that? Did you get that from them? Anyways, that's Andrew's quick review of One Piece and his surprise. The only thing I really want to bring up for news is probably the fact that apparently March Comes Like a Lion, the manga, is coming to an end. I think we're finally at the point now where we can probably give up on another anime adaptation. Are you
so?
Are you pretty good on that now? Are you on board with me in saying it ain't happening? Shaft's the Shaft we once knew is dead.
I think Shaft is.
Unless you think somebody, do you think somebody else could pull off?
No,
March Comes Like a Lion.
I'm still leaning towards whoever somebody over at the group that did is doing Undead Murder Farce. I think they headhunted a couple folks from Shaft. I'm still convinced of that.
I'm not seeing where you're getting that from. He said that in text. I'm like, I'm not even gonna reply to that. I don't even know what he's talking about. He texts me out of nowhere. I'm like, what? Okay. Well, I guess we'll talk about it when we do our first impressions. I don't know.
It feels like the old Shaft used to feel to me.
Science Sorrow. I think if I want somebody to pick up March Comes Like a Lion, I'd probably say Science Sorrow. As much as I've not liked a lot of them.
You hate Science Sorrow.
It's what they adapt. I am convinced at this point it's what they adapt. They adapt Reiko Yoshida and now Naoko Yamada's work, and I was like, yes, chef's kiss. This other stuff, I've just not enjoyed the stories, and yes, I have a big problem with their art style a lot of the time, but they're the only ones that I can see doing something that would capture what Shaft did with March Comes Like a Lion. I can't envision anybody else capturing that style. When it comes to, like with Hike Story, I could not see any other studio besides Silent Sorrow doing that. So, yeah. March. Silent Sorrow, if you're looking for a future project, please, that. I don't want Shaft touching it. I dread, anytime I see Shaft is going to be producing something anymore, I dread it. They have burnt me, 3 times in a row now? And I'm like, I can't go with you no more.
I don't even remember when the last good Shaft show was.
It was probably March.
Monogatari. Well, I guess it was March.
I think they did do one more Monogatari. It might have been the Zoku. But I mean, there was some cool visual aspects of Magic, and I do admit that I stopped watching that because I hate the fact they cut the mobile game. I mean, even Pretty Boy Detective Club, I was okay. But yeah, it would probably be Zoku wa Monogatari. And then before then, Fate Extra, and then before then, March. But ever since then, it's been like, yes, my dislike for Magic Record, which I fully acknowledge, is the fact that I'm mad about the game, and I don't want to support it because of the game. But Ruby sucked. The Not Strike Witches was not good. We'll see what happens with the Quintessential Quintuplets stuff we didn't adapt rendition. But they're just not. Yeah, I think Ruby was the big stain. And even, like I said, the Not Strike Witches was not good. And then there was that other one. What was the Assault Lilies. That was another big disappointment. I don't know. I want them to come back, but all signs seem to be pointing at the fact that they lost a lot of really key people. Like their key producers and stuff left. And so they don't have that, I guess, funding or something there for doing crazy art. Which I guess is good, since there was more Monogatari still to go, wasn't there? Because I think Zoku's like supposed to be final chapter, but I think there's still like a few more volumes that he made after that.
I honestly don't know. Don't make me say I don't know.
haven't been in the loop on that in a long time. I don't know. It's sad. What were we even talking about? What were we talking about? Oh, March Comes Like a Lion manga is coming to end. But no, apparently the 17th volume, the mangaka Chika Umino revealed that yes, they're entering the final stretch. Whatever that means. I always love how differently they explain how I'm finishing it. All it means is that It will come to close soon. Whether that means that they're going to do another 15-volume arc, or the next volume's it. Who knows? They're entering their final stretch. They said she said that she was giving her all, and that she's hoping that they'll support her. So, which makes me believe, like, yeah, I think once that does come to close, if we don't get another announcement for another season, or / it's not to a good studio, or has members of the previous seasons of Shaft's adaptation of March, I'm probably gonna read it. Now, I did hear like one or two whispers here and there that once this current arc is kind of over, going forward, it's not as interesting. It's more about the shogi. I don't know if that's true. Like that later part with a lot of those shogi matches, I thought I wasn't going to like, and I actually loved the way that they portrayed that. But again, that was Shaft and that team that did that. I still think I want to read it, because I just got really invested in that show and was just waiting, like, soon, right? We're getting another season, right? I don't need to jump in the manga, right? We're getting another season, right? So, we'll see. Just run into everything.
Right?
Why are you getting so violent? Calm down. Anyways, that's really it. All the ones that I really want to cover for now. But yeah, do you know Uncle Roger? You ever watched the Uncle Roger YouTube? He's a comedian, but he does the YouTube videos where he does the little cooking stuff, and he's got the Asian uncle type thing going on.
I know of it because I do follow a couple
always
of
says,
cooking.
Yeah, everything's something bad. He did something with Gordon Ramsay. That was, I think a lot of people know him because Gordon
I knew
Ramsay
him
did
from the
something with him.
Guga stuff.
The Guga?
Guga, yeah. I watch Guga. I do watch a couple of Gordon Ramsay, but Guga is the one that I kind of follow more.
Is he a chef?
He does more barbecue stuff.
Oh.
But yeah, I know of him. I do not follow him.
Anyways, he got copyright struck for Toei Animation. So speaking of One Piece, this is the sad thing, and you know that Uncle Roger did a YouTube video reacting to a cooking session in episode 133, I think it was, of One Piece. And he literally released it like a few days ago, which was about the time that One Piece live action came out. So you know Uncle Roger was probably going, okay, live action's coming out, people are going to get really excited for that. Let's make a video reacting to something that happens in One Piece. Makes sense. I do the whole reviews of cooking and stuff. Yeah, Toei, they're like, yeah, it's pretty exciting. Everybody's super hyped up on this live action. There's positive reviews. Let's strike a very popular YouTuber for using our clips. It doesn't shock me because he has way too much footage in that video. Like, it's like these spans of 5-6 seconds of nothing but just watching what happens in the episode before he finally pops up on the screen and goes, oh yeah, you did that wrong or whatever. So, like, if he got away with using that much footage without reacting to it, I'd be shocked. But it still goes to that whole effect. Uncle Roger, I'm sorry, welcome to the AniTuber world. Don't put even the title in the name of the show in your title. You will get struck. Mark got that same thing happen to him. We've learned. You'll learn eventually. Stay away from anything Toei Animation. They don't take kindly to YouTubers. But again, it goes that whole thing where you can't region lock your shows or your videos. It goes into YouTube. It goes to YouTube. YouTube will broadcast in Japan. Japan does not recognize fair use. You will get struck. Just unfortunately, it sucks, but it's reality.
Maybe he's big enough to make it stop.
That was my hope. That's what I kind of mentioned in my video. I'm hoping that with him having like 4.5 million subscribers, hopefully YouTube can... It didn't work for Totally Not Mark. He wanted them to give us region locking. And I would love that. I would love to have region locking. That way I don't have to worry about putting clips or something in my videos, but we don't get region locking, so... Anyways. Community questions, Chris. We have a little bit of time. Let's answer some questions from our folks on the Discord while you rub your face in a weird way, and I wonder what you're doing.
Just
Sinus headache?
No, I don't have a headache.
Is it because you hit your knee? Is that where you fell on your face? Or is that where it touched somebody's leg? Bristles from the hairs on the leg? They were wearing denims, huh?
Maybe.
Denim can really give you a rash on your face if you hit somebody's leg and they have denim. Anyway.
So I guess if you're having fun, let's just do it.
discord.otakuspirit.com or otakuspirit.com. You can find Discord link there. Great community questions. Great community of people who sometimes submit questions. But great folks there. We have channels for different shows that you can talk with other people about. We have Mushoku Mondays channel in there for people that watch the Mushoku Mondays. We have anime general chat. For some reason, we have chats for things like gaming and Hoyoverse. Anyways, questions. You can submit questions there too. Which our first question comes from Gudako. Says, what anime character did y'all ship? He didn't say y'all. He said you'll. I think he meant y'all. Did y'all ship but never ended up together by the end of the series? ? For complete series only. This is a hard one to answer without. I think we should probably just stick with just the name of the show. And it's literally every show that finishes. I'm not. If I watch a show to completion and there is a choice, it's never going to be what I choose. Ever. I don't think I've ever had a show end with my choice. Quintessential quintuplets.
Nisekoi.
Sakura-sa hasn't ended yet, but I'm assuming so. Snafu. Golden Time. Which
Golden Time was too.
I didn't mind, but again, it wasn't the choice that I thought should work. Just because.
Well, we had that discussion when Golden Time came out. It was one of the rare few where I actually walked away going, I'm kind of okay with the way that they ended it.
I'm okay with it, but at the same time, it was pushing something. It was pushing a narrative, a necessity for something for him, and a support. And then it goes, oh, Sakura-sao. Oh, never mind, Sakura-sao.
But Nisekoi is actually the one that I actually
one that ended that I like is Tsuki ga Kirei. That was the only one that's ended where I'm like, yeah, that wasn't really a choice though. Sorry.
But yeah, I kind of went through it. I mean, you could pretty much every show that you could go through that I've watched has always had some kind of a ship of that kind of doesn't end up as the main, but that's more because, like we talked about earlier, is like if they do your characters well, you should have multiple characters that you go, I could really see that. I could see that. In the harems, half the time I go, dump the guy, all the girls get together. That works for me.
Rent a girlfriend. Like, that show would be so amazing if he wasn't even in the picture. Like, it's just about the girls. Like, just cut to each one of them. Suddenly you're following her, and she's doing her stuff with the movie acting. And you cut over to here, and I think she's still at a restaurant. I don't know. And then, you cut over to this girl, and she's doing her rent-a-girlfriend thing. But no, I do think that's an inevitability, just because with every show that you watch, it's partly to do with that. If they write the characters well enough, you're going to want that one character. That one character is going to just connect with you. And in most cases, it's never, in my case, it's usually never the main girl. Like, the main girl, I just never usually, they just feel a little bit too in the middle. Like, they don't have like a quirk that really gravitates to me. Did you watch Quintessential Quintuplets movie? Did you watch the end of it? Or did you read it?
No, I only got through a few episodes of Quintessential.
Oh.
I meant to.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. I watched the movie. It was... Narratively, the movie sucked, in my opinion. I did not like how they sort of did one of those things where it's like, let's watch this from this many directions. Like, we're going to watch this situation from every girl's perspective. I didn't like that narratively. I think it was a jumbled mess of a narrative. But... the ending made sense. I'll just say that. The ending made sense. And it was enjoyable. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
But I don't know. It's like, you like Nisekoi, and it's literally kind of that same... It's not as bonkers as Nisekoi. Like, from what I watched, the first 2 episodes of Nisekoi is nowhere near as bonkers as Nisekoi, but it's kind of got that same vibe. Like, there's constantly that carrot on the stick kind of thing. Anyways, good. Dude, stop. I think they're asking about visual novels now just to troll us. Gudako also says, what is your first visual novel? Shoot. I don't know. Would it be Planetarian, I guess? And that I finished, for sure. I don't know which one I first started off with.
I get Fruit of Grisaia, but I never finished it.
I want to say there was something else that I played a long time ago that was like on a Saturn or something like that. That was technically a visual novel, but there you go. Some Dumb Baka says, has there been time when you stopped watching anime or reading manga? It happened to me around 2002, where I focused on other stuff and did not watch anime or seek it out. It was a change from my teen years when I'd go into an anime club. I'd swap VHS tapes for fan subs and bootlegs or whatever was available at the time. Oddly enough, I started getting back into anime in 2011 with shows like Future Diaries, Princess Jellyfish, Squid Girl, and Idolmaster. Now I'm back for good. Has this happened to you? If so, what series got you back into anime, manga, / PS? The hate Mushoku Tensei gets this... We're not talking about Mushoku Tensei anymore. I did not do that on purpose. He says, P.S. The hate Mushoku Tensei gets is ridiculous. People, we'll get into that in a minute. Yes, about the same time for me, actually. I think I was just bleeding into the 2000s, and life got busy. Because yes, I think going into, basically it was because of like two really significant moves, and I did find groups of people to kind of still converse with about anime, but I did kind of lose contact with like my best friend that got me into anime originally. But there was a time where I think just life got busy. I started my first job. Granted, getting that first job gave me the money to actually buy stuff of anime, like doing, yes, back then, mail orders to buy manga or anime and stuff. And that's when I bought my Evangelion DVD set that I cherished to death. But yeah, I think it was at a point where at some point I got kind of out of it. But it was like at the tail end of, I was just getting into torrenting, because that was the only way to do it. You'd go on a website, you'd find a fan subgroup, you would basically, whatever they chose that season, that's what they were going to sub. You would download the torrents as they sub the episode, and you would get it. So shortly after getting really into that stuff, that's when I moved again, and then that was a complete breakout. I think that was when we moved over to here, cross country. I kind of left it behind. And I remember, because Chris was getting back into it, like really heavy. I was still getting more into gaming at the time. Was playing World of Warcraft and stuff like that. So I didn't really want to... I was keeping an eye on anime, but I wasn't really partaking in it. And then we started doing I was doing a lot of gaming. You were doing a lot of anime. We started doing the podcast and stuff for anime and gaming. And eventually Chris kind of said, just come over here and watch anime. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch everything. And then I got back into watching anime, like everything. So, but yeah, I want to say it was about 2002, 2003. And then I never got back into it, I think, until about 2011. I think. I had to go back. You literally can look at our podcast, and whenever it started, that's when I got back in.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't have a lot of those. I don't have any of the old podcasts before we were really strictly anime, though. I didn't put those in the feed.
There's this weird aspect of, kind of where like you're saying, where you kind of fade out and fade in and fade out. I was always kind of keeping an eye on anime, and I kind of try to think back of when did it really kick in. And obviously the biggest answer is Timeless Gaming was probably around that time frame where I was really pushing into it. But when I stop and think back, is like I've always had anime in some way, shape, or form around, and I don't remember being as nuts about it as I am technically now. I mean, but I have always had it around.
He used to be a collector.
Yeah,
that's actually crazy to think about, because I was at a time where Chris was in the military, and I got on a Greyhound bus. Absolute worst experience of my entire life. I will never do that again. Even if I have to walk, I will walk. But no, I took a Greyhound to go all the way to his place that he was staying at, and yeah, he just had these bookshelves full of anime, and it was all DVDs at the time, right? Because I had some VHS before then, and you were getting right into the DVD days, and he just had a smattering of tons of anime. I'm like, yes. And then we went down to the local shop, and then we bought Bloody Roar and played that for forever. I don't know why we bought every single Bloody Roar, but we played Bloody Roar. It's a stupid game. That's one of those games where like you look back at it now and you go, God, that game sucks. Why did we buy 3 of them? It was 3 of them, wasn't it? He bought like
seems like it.
He bought me a controller, he bought me a memory card, and he bought like 3 Bloody Roars. And I'm like, I think at the time I was on board, but I don't know why. Why didn't you stop me? Why did we buy Bloody Roar?
Because Big Brother had money and was willing to buy stuff for you. I mean, obviously. Why the hell wouldn't you?
It's because he looked at the cover first before anything else and said, "That's it. Don't worry, Andrew, I got you." And I'm like, "No, you don't have to." And okay, I guess we're buying that. Yeah, I really like Bloody Roar. Thanks for buying Bloody Roar. But no, yeah,
hell, if I had a big brother who had lots of money, I would buy it. Why the hell not?
It's like, I'd rather you buy a different car because I don't know why I'm bouncing it on the road. The most bouncy freaking spring chairs. No, there's a side of me that's kind of envious of a lot of these stories of the, shoot, how many times have you heard I was in college and we swapped VHSs with dubs in it? I completely missed that generation. Like I said before, and I think the reason why I missed it so much is because the person that literally got me into anime was the one that was getting the imports. Like, he was at the stores and buying the really expensive, like, stuff that was actually brought over. But it is kind of interesting to see that there was this other generation that was so into that era of, you bring me your VHS tapes and we'll get you a copy of this with the dub on it or the sub on it. And it almost sounds like a completely different world when I hear about those stories, and I understand what they're talking about, and I fully understand the process. I just never was involved in it.
Yeah, that was me as well. It's like, really our point was I remember
it was the mainstream stuff that actually got releases.
Yeah, most of the stuff that we had was, like the Sailor Moon off of TV, saving it or recording it onto our VHSs and having this big old pile of them. That was us. We didn't have the local anime club where all these trades were. Technically, that is our era.
Old school piracy, dude.
Yeah,
old school piracy and fan subs.
That was, in theory, it was
SneakerNet version of internet piracy of anime.
But yeah, I remember going on when I was in the Army. I remember dial up and all that crap and hitting these. They had this weird. It was before torrenting was a thing. You would connect it. There was the
like a peer-to-peer
the Napster.
Thing.
Yeah, it was peer-to-peer. There was Napster, and then they did the peer-to-peer, this weird conglomeration thing where you had to have a section of your hard drives shared out, and you would connect to a hub. And if you had, you could only connect to a certain hub based on how much you had shared out on your hard drive. And so you would be downloading all this garbage onto your computer.
Oh, so you can't be a leecher.
Yeah, you can't be a leecher.
You're not allowed to be a leecher in this world.
And the ones that had all the
that
anime
had to be done back then because everybody had limited bandwidth and everything.
Exactly.
So much. These days you don't have to worry about being a leecher because everybody's like, whatever, you just download it in 2 seconds.
Yeah. And you would literally,
we used to have that fear early on with the torrents, was this idea that if your ratio was low, people would cut you off. Like, they would basically ban you from being able to.
Yeah.
Of course, you could just these days just VPN or whatever and get around it, but still, nobody wants to use a VPN. You use a VPN. Always use a VPN.
But no, that was really. I mean, I remember there was a couple of times you could find anime shows on Napster, but not very often. But yeah, that was the thing, because when you would really want to get into the good hubs where all the anime was.
Yeah.
And that's where you would download it, and then all the porn. But that's another story.
But that's a discussion for our different podcast
that's
episode.
a different episode.
Get our R18 episodes on patreon.com. Anyways.
But yeah, then after that, getting out of it, I did go into, I had this, there was a website at the time. It was called DVD Express. I bought nearly $1,000 worth of DVDs, and I got a freaking shirt. I finally ended up throwing away that damn shirt. That shirt costed me $1,000 to get that damn shirt, so I'm happy about that shirt. But no,
you added like an extra 90% or $900 to your order just to get that shirt.
Yes, I did. I was proud of that damn shirt.
It's a badge of honor.
I spent $1,000.
Here's your bill, sir. It's a badge of honor. Your bill, sir. Honor. Whatever, sir.
But yeah, that was the actually where I got Ghost in the Shell, Armitage,
Mouse.
Was Mouse
It's
in there?
so
too?
funny that the one show that I remember watching over at his house over there was Mouse, because why? I mean, it has some good stuff in that show. I mean, there's some good ecchi, but the thing that I enjoyed so much about watching that stupid show was the title screen. It was the ad break screen. Because every time an ad screen would come out, what would happen? Mouse. It had the most generic announcer voice guy just yell, mouse. And I just got a huge kick out of it. That's how things happened back in the day. We would just find the stupidest thing and find it so hilarious. Just like pickles and ice cream.
Pickles and ice cream.
Pickles and ice cream.
Pickles
and ice cream? Can it be? Well done, Tenchi. Oh my gosh, anyways.
Tenchi. I love Tenchi. But yeah, there's... After that, then you get into this kind of weird area where life got really weird. And
life
then
got
eventually,
twisted upside down.
Yeah,
right?
life got twisted upside down, and my mom said you're moving to Bel Air or something. I don't remember the freaking words. Flip turned upside down
in Bel Air.
But no, yeah. So life got weird. Got married a couple times. Got divorced a couple times.
You picked the wrong waifu. There's your problem.
It's the waifu,
nobody's ever going to trust you because you always pick the wrong ones.
Then
I decided to stick with 2D.
Yeah. Then at some point we started Otaku Spirit and
decided to stick to 2D.
2D got kind of overwhelming. So yeah, now I'm married to a whole bunch of waifus.
And I was happier ever since. Smile to the camera and wave. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. So what? I don't think you answered the question, but I guess you said you had a break there somewhere. Did you have the year count? He's asking for a year count. When was your break? When was your massive break?
That was my point. It never really kind of went away.
Yeah.
It was just always
never
there.
Goes away. It never goes away.
I mean,
you're in here for life.
Even the closest time to a break would be during that time frame where I was technically married, but even then I was technically still watching anime. So it's not really, there's not really a break. It's just like even now, or even when I was working at Harvey's, my other job, it wasn't really, I didn't really stop. I just slowed down quite considerably, and I was only watching the shows that I was highly interested in.
And you were like half unconscious.
And half unconscious.
I guess we could touch this other part of it, even though I think we've talked this to death over the last like 3 podcasts. Some dumb baka says, hate the hate Mushoku Tensei gets is ridiculous. People will defend Griffith from Berserk or Akito from Fruits Baskets. Yet, Rudius is despised for his actions. Sure, he's a scumbag at first, but confronts his past demons, grows up and moves on. Maybe it's a generational thing, but I don't see why people get upset and have to take to social media to demonize the series when there's so much more to it than the outrageous elements. I don't think I've ever heard somebody... Did you ever hear some... Well, I guess I can see people defending Akito. I don't see it. Griffith from I've seen it. I want to say I seem to remember there's a group like that, but I don't look into it anymore because I do plan on actually reading the manga series, and I don't want to. I've decided to go pretty quiet on looking at anything Berserk until I do finally decide to go read it. But I can see it. I want to say there was some people that were defending him back then. I mean, it made sense. There is that aspect of this isn't right, and I chose this path in order to fix it, and it's not really a happy path. So maybe that's where they're getting at. But yeah, as for the Mushoku Tensei, like I said, we've technically talked that one to death. It's partly people that like the story, but they feel uncomfortable with certain aspects, and they're voicing that. There is a part aspect of people who are, as they jokingly say, anime tourists that typically will want to watch it and grandstand to basically show everybody they're a great person. And so they tell us things like, forced servitude's bad, and we go, yes, we know, thank you. And then there's people that are just trolling. Yeah, we say, thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Please get off my account. Stop tweeting me, Mom. It's embarrassing. But yeah, that's typically what it is.
You're embarrassing me, Mom.
Grandstanders and people that are generally grandstanders, trolls, and people that are generally uncomfortable with it, which I'm fine with the last one, honestly. The other two, I just ignore at this point. Even though I like making videos that I laugh about. Even though I like making videos where I laugh at them. So
I don't know.
Do you think Akito is defendable?
I don't think any of them are defendable.
Of Fruits Baskets? You don't think any of the characters are defendable?
No.
You don't like Toru? I like Toru. I only forgive Akito because Toru does. Right?
My point is more along the lines of it. As far as I know, I've never really gone that deep into the Berserk. I know of the moment.
Eclipse, Chris.
Yeah, I kind of know what in theory happened, just mostly because of my general knowledge of the series and what is going on in that. And it's one of those things that, yes, I can see the reasoning. Is it defendable? Technically not. It's still, I don't care for it. The scene in didnt, it's not really particularly something that I think should be defended. I don't think that stuff should be defended. It's there. It's there for a reason. It's there to tell a story, and I believe that those stories should be there. And if there is a reasoning for it, it should be there. If it's making a statement, it should be there. If it's not making a statement, it's less. It doesn't necessarily need to be there. But at the same time, if it's telling a story, let them tell the story. I mean, maybe there's something else that they're trying to, another story that they're trying to state. I mean, I think we did have this discussion way back. And that's one kind of why I'm stumbling over it, because it seems like we talked about the idea of shock value versus tantalizing versus
impact versus shock value. I mean, I think we've talked about the idea of stuff just being like, this happens and it's cheap in a sense. Like they do this thing just for you to go, oh, that was horrible. And it's like, it doesn't provide a value in your eyes via story or some sort of narrative. Like I have the argument that I don't feel anything should be restricted. So say, for example, a forced intercourse thing. Something like that happens. Somebody jumps on another person and force themselves upon them. Yes. It's thankfully I didn't go that far. I mean, that's a good example. The whole thing in the Alicization arc, where yes, they had the guy that was forcing himself on the two girls, and there was a big hubbub about that. My whole point is it actually happening. That's probably one of those ones that really makes people the most unsettled. It's that and forced servitude. I think those are the two big no-nos. Or prejudice. Very blatant prejudice is a big no-no. Forced servitude, blatant discrimination, and forcing yourself upon another person in the bed. Those are the three no-nos. My opinion has always been it should be allowed, whether it's to say something, not say something, tantalize or not. And I think people will be the choosers of whether it's successful. If people don't want to watch it, they're not going to watch it. They shouldn't watch it. If you're not comfortable with it, don't watch it. But to say that, the reason why I say that is my whole point here is that aspect of the intent. When one person watches it and goes, "You didn't say enough." So does that mean that we have to go to the broadcasters and say, "Hey, they didn't say enough about this forced servitude thing"? And they go, "Okay, well, where's the meter? We have this meter right here that tells us it only made it halfway up the meter. Thus, it did not say enough about it. So cancel the show, cancel the story." That's my problem, is who makes the decision. So thus, always allow it and let people decide.
I've gotten to the point where the reason why I even brought this up is because I remember us discussing that, and I don't know if it was Eat It in Deities. It seems like we discussed it before.
Eat It in Deities has zero filters, so I would not doubt that discussion was
I know that we
there.
ended up talking about it because I talked about how uncomfortable that scene made me feel, and I did not want to continue watching the show.
With the nun girl?
Yes.
Yeah. That was like the first episode's ending, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
like second episode.
But I seem to remember us talking about it before.
Because it was literally like a bunch of soldiers coming in and just having their way with... It's literally the whole aspect of wars happening, and the men come in, and their spoils are to loot and pillage. It's just like the Viking things. It's literally the Vikings.
Yeah.
The Vikings come in, they kill all the men, and they have their way with the women. And the reason why it was so uncomfortable is they didn't show it directly, but they showed the silhouettes of the characters as a shadow on the wall, and they were having fun and laughing about it. It was uncomfortable, yes.
Yeah. And it did, and I seem to remember me pointing out that I think that they did what they were trying to do.
Oh yeah.
And that
world's nasty. That world is stupid nasty. And the whole idea there is, why aren't the deities doing anything? They're the gods. They're supposed to help.
And but it seems like we had talked about it before then. And my reasoning for bringing this up is mostly because I have gotten to the point where I don't care anymore. Just give me the story. If you want to tantalize me, fine, tantalize me. If you want to go for shock value, fine, go for shock value. I don't care anymore. Just tell me the freaking story. I'm so sick of everybody telling everybody not what they can and cannot say.
Yeah.
I just want stories. That's what I am here for. I want stories.
I sort of had that same kind of feeling. What was it, last night or today? So we had Mushoku Tensei episode 9 air, and there's a certain character that was revealed in that show, and I got a kick out of the fact that when I was watching the episode, she kept changing legs.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Changing legs, and I literally felt like she changed crossing legs like 100 times while I was watching it. So I decided while I was watching the show, I'm like, I'm totally gonna make a counter, and I'm gonna count how many times she crosses it. I'm gonna make a video where it cuts all the points that she does it.
I'm so curious.
It was only 6.
6? Really?
Yeah, it was only 6.
It seemed like she was doing it constantly.
It felt like 20. And I know. I literally went back and watched through it again going, I had to have missed one. But anyways, I posted a video of that with a counter in the corner that counted up to 6. And I posted on Twitter and I said something like, how many times did Hoshi crossed her legs? I know you were all wondering. And I something like that. And I tweeted it. Got a lot of responses, like thousands of likes and like hundreds of retweets. And eventually I noticed that like my Twitter was trying to hide comments. I'm like, it's typically somebody that's muted or something like that. And I clicked on to show more. And literally this guy is like, you are, dude, you're absolutely a... Yeah. And
wow.
I'm like, okay. It was one of those moments where I'm like, I don't even want to respond to this because usually those are like the conversations that just never go anywhere. So though I've had plenty of comment, not particularly that, but I've had plenty of comments that are like super vicious, and it's like, I usually ignore it. Like, this is just not worth my time to even talk about this. But yeah, of course, a lot of people are replying to it saying, dude, she's like 22. But it's like one of those moments of like, it's like that, what you were just saying right there. That's literally went through my head the other day was like, I just don't care. Like, okay, I really don't care. Yeah. I don't care if I literally did show a character on there that was 16, that was an animated character that's crossing her legs 50 times. I don't care. It's funny. Move on with your life. It's almost that point. Every now and then I almost get to that point where you get that like little heat of criticisms, or you see a lot of criticisms. It's not always it's you. Sometimes you see somebody getting hit with a lot of criticisms, and you almost jump into that mindset of, when do we get to that point where we are like the old anime fans, where we just don't care what the general public thinks of us? We used to watch this stuff in secrecy, enjoy what we want to watch. We had especially back in the 80s and 90s, there was some crazy violent and super mature stuff that we were watching. Yeah. And again, we joke about that aspect that we went to the Blockbuster and it was in the kids section. Hell yeah, we watched that stuff and nobody batted an eye. It was the most gory and over the top stuff. La Blue Girl. Hell yeah. We used to watch anything and we didn't give an F. And we were kids. We were teenagers. And
I mean, we brought it up.
Get back to that point of, I don't care. That's just too young.
I'm sorry.
I don't care. It's an anime character and she's a 1,000-year-old vampire. I don't care anymore. Get over it.
I'm sorry. Tsukudochi is pretty freaking gory, okay? I'm sorry.
Was it Basilisk back in the
Basilisk was really bad. Ninja Scroll was really freaking bad.
Akira technically was pretty violent as well.
I was getting ready to bring up Battle Angel. If you watch what they did in Battle Angel, that was pretty freaking brutal. The original version of...
But I mean, that was kind of what I liked so much about Eden Deities. It was that... Was it Eden Deities? There was something here recently. I think it was Eden Deities. Did I watch Eden Deities before Interspecies Reviewers? I think I did. Because I think I got the Blu-ray for... Whatever one I watched first was that... Especially Eden Deities, because that was more an all-encompassing type of show. At some point that I watched something and I literally made a... It was Eden Deities, I think it was. I think I made a video and I was like, literally, I missed this. This show, this writer... It's the same writer, obviously. Does both Eden Deities... Or originally did the original Eden Deities. Of course, Maid Dragon's author took it over. Kokyun is redoing the manga. And then you have Interspecies Reviewer. Same person. They have zero filters. Everything you can think about. They're literally saying with Eden Deities, these are demons submerged themselves into human society, and they do whatever they want. The point there is, they have no rules. They have no morals. They don't believe in even the deities. They don't understand your morals. Well, they went in there and they pillaged the village and took all the women, did horrible things to them. They don't understand that. They don't have a moral compass like we do. They don't understand that. That was the whole point of the story, was to show you how terrible this is, and they don't care. And that's the problem. So where do we go from there? That's the story. But it was that aspect of something like that that told me, you know, I'm fine with people being offended by Eden Deities. Don't watch it. It's fine. You don't have to explain to me that you don't want to watch it. I'm fine with that. Just stop with this, you shouldn't watch it. I'm tired of it. I'm at the point now where I've been through enough stuff in my life and struggles in my life. I'm going to watch what I want to watch. And I'm not going to want to watch what I want to watch. And I don't care to hear your opinion that you think a drawn 22-year-old character crossing their legs makes me like young people. Get a life. I don't care about your opinion. You obviously went and checked that video, so obviously you were looking for it. Tells me something about you. Anyways, we're going to get back in that argument. What was the question? Oh, do you think Griffith from Berserk is a good person?
Do I think Griffith
I'm just joking. I think that was like a spin-off from that whole idea of like the whole answering the characters and the outrage around Mushoku. But yeah, like I said, I think it's just people grandstanding, and I'm tired of really giving it attention. I'll make funny videos every now and then about it because I find it funny laughing at it every now and then, but it is what it is. You're never going to change people's minds. That's, I think, the main key thing to take away. Don't bother trying to change their minds. You see the outrage, laugh at it, and walk away. You're never going to change their minds. That's what they're trying to shoot for. Like ANN and groups like that, they're trying to get their clicks about it. And just move on. The definite sign, like I mentioned last time, was that whole aspect of how ANN blew up about Mushoku of those two episodes. And then what happens after that? They're still covering the show, but all they're doing is talking about the synopsis. Like, they're not even commenting on anything that happens in the episode. This recent episode, episode 9, they kind of was getting into the aspect of Sylphie and how isolated she was in that room. But it was a synopsis. You guys don't care about that show. Stop making articles on it. You know you're just trying to get clicks.
I think in a lot of cases, most of these people are flaring themselves out. They because of the fact that they effectively are eating their own, they're turning themselves off and eventually walking over to our side where we were right the entire time, and they'll figure it out. So
yeah. I think there's diehards that kind of stick with those types of things, but pretty much what's happening is exactly what happened with like gaming and stuff like that. Is that the articles and stuff are being made to get clicks, and eventually people walk away from it, and they go to YouTubers and they go to people they trust on Twitter or whatever to get their information and entertainment. So all the better for me. I'll take your clicks. Anyways, that's it. Thanks, some Dumbaka and Gurako for the great questions. So. I'm surprised we only got 2 done, but that's what happens when we talk too much about Mushoku. We'll just have to put we stopped ourselves from talking about AI, but now we got to do Mushoku now. We'll just put a block on that now. Might fall back into AI though.
Why the hell would we ever stop talking about Sylphie, Roxy, and Eris? And Norn.
And Norn.
And Norn.
And Aisha. And Ellen Lise. And Ghislaine. And Nina. And who else?
Sarah's
cute. Lilia. Zenith. Gosh, I watched the first episode again. I'm like, oh my gosh, Zenith.
I don't want to talk about that.
Zenith's so hot. She's MILF. So many good characters. Who else? Oh, Edis's mom. She was pretty hot. Edis's mom. She's pretty hot. That weird bug girl in the Demon Continent. I didn't dig her. The one that was a part of that one group that they swapped quests with at in Rikarisu.
You're finding all kinds of characters. The
bug lady? You don't remember the bug lady?
I don't remember the bug lady.
Remember they were higher quest level than them, so they were taking their quests and they were giving them their lower quests. And there was a bug girl that was with them. And they killed their boss guy because they were stealing the cats because the man god said to go chase after the cat in the quest, take the quest for the cat, and they go in that cave, and there was 3 of them in there, and the one guy kicked Rudius. So
I know the story you're talking about, but I don't remember.
You don't remember the bug face girl?
I don't remember a bug face girl.
Oh my gosh, Chris.
I remember Eris was there.
I'm sorry, what? What did Eris do? No, I'm talking about the bug girl. But no, what did Eris do? Chris, focus. Bug face lady. And remember the other guy was the one that was the tamer. She was the one that she had a saliva. In the novel, she actually had a saliva that would draw insects. And so when she was doing the quest for Rudius and them, she had this one quest where she was getting rid of pests inside of this kitchen, and she would use her saliva to draw them out. It was actually a really interesting story. And then Jalil was the other one. He was the one that really wanted to join. She wanted to make his own pet shop. And he got sidetracked doing this whole kidnapping thing. And then eventually, anyways. But yeah, Viskel. That was the insect girl. She's alright. She's alright. Now, you want a babe? Rokari. Roxy's mom is pretty hot too.
Are you saying Roxy's mom has got it going on?
We should do like we should do a best girl tier list based on first 2 seasons. What do you think of Vieira? This sucks because it's like it's all about the novel. Like Vieira and Sierra's story in the novel is so good, and they skipped all of it.
They absolutely messed that up.
All of it.
That was the stupid thing is that is the like 75% of that entire fight scene between Rudius and his dad in that room
Is her chest.
was involved with those two.
Well, they showed them fighting because Sierra, she shot the water ball. Viera was the one that was like hypnotizing him with his chest because she had the bikini armor on. He's just going, oh crap, I'm getting distracted. They actually animated that really well. It kind of did that whole like hypnotizing aspect of her chest while she's mad because she's got her underwear on his head. That's good. Yeah, that's Suzanne's great too, and Sarah. Anyways, that's that. And I want Kishidika to come back. I haven't seen her in forever.
Yeah, that was going to be my next joke. Was this before
Linnea and Priscilla? Which is your pick? You can't talk about anything later on. Just what's. I guess you could pick it based on what you know, but.
Obviously the dog girl.
I'm Team Persona too. I've heard some. I came into it expecting I was going to love
I mean,
Linnea,
I absolutely get a kick out of
but I just
Linnea.
like her. And I think they pulled off her voice in the anime so well. Like Persona's voice melts me. She got that whole nano thing going on. They went with the nano tick, which is super cute. But now I like my cat girls, but I think there's just such a drought of puppy girls.
I just think that those two. Girls. I just think those two are just so well done as a
duo,
as a duo.
Duet of comedy routine.
Exactly. I loved him in the story.
Thanks for helping us. Thanks for saving us from the Demon King. You could touch Linea's chest. Yes, you could. Wait, no, what?
I absolutely loved him in the web novel. Seeing them in, I couldn't wait to see them animated, and now that I'm watching them animated, I love them all the more. So they're so perfect together, and you can't have one without the other. They're just so perfect.
Oh yeah, that's right, Ariel. Anyways, that's a Talking Spirit anime cast. We gotta stop. I'm pulling us right back into it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Pretty much half. No, it was probably like a quarter of this podcast episode was talking about Mushoku. So, but people love talking about it, or love hearing us talk about it. So it's fine. I'll put timestamps so people can skip through this stuff. But anyways, we're at talkingspirit.com is where all of our links are. Social media links, way to get a hold of us. Discord link there so you can join a great community of people. We have like 3 or 4. We have 2 channels for Mushoku, and then we have a thread that's just full on spoilers. So there's 3 places to talk about Mushoku: anime onlys, the Mushoku Mondays novel readers, and then the full-on spoilers novel section. So there's 3 ways to talk about it. So
there is a 4th way, but it is invite
only.
Yes.
You don't want to go that one. Anyways, we thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed, and y'all take care.
Os!